The hallway fell silent when Amani walked in. Not because she was popular or feared, but because no one knew her, and no one cared to. She was the kind of girl who slipped between crowds unnoticed, her head always down, her voice barely above a whisper. She had transferred mid-year, and in a school where cliques were carved in stone, Amani was invisible. And that suited her just fine. She wasn't here to make friends. She wasn't here to be liked. All Amani wanted was to get through the day without being noticed. Because attention, she had learned, was dangerous. Attention meant judgment. Attention meant being mocked, cornered, and broken down. She had seen it all before, in the last school, and the one before that. But some people couldn't stand silence. Some people couldn't leave kindness alone. Brielle, Trey, and Zara were exactly those people. They were the kind of students teachers called influential in meetings but troublemakers behind closed doors. Brielle was the ringleader, always laughing at someone else's pain. Trey was her backup, loud, cocky, and fast with cruel jokes. Zara was the silent shadow, recording everything on her phone for likes. When Amani first entered their radar, it wasn't dramatic. She dropped her books in the hallway, and Brielle stepped on them without stopping. Trey smirked and asked if she was mute. Zara took a picture and posted it with the caption, "We got a new pet." Amani said nothing. She picked up her books, avoided eye contact, and kept walking. But the more silent she stayed, the louder their games became. They threw paper at her in class, mocked her in whispers, called her a statue behind her back. One day, they trapped her in the girls' bathroom and barked like dogs, saying she was too ugly to be human. Everyone laughed. Amani didn't cry. She simply stared at them with calm, tired eyes, and left. But behind those eyes was something they couldn't see. Something none of them imagined. Amani had spent 6 years learning Muay Thai from her uncle. He ran a self-defense center in their old town, and when she was younger, she had begged to join after being bullied at school. At first, she was clumsy. Shy. Too soft-spoken for a sport of strikes and discipline. But slowly, she grew. She learned how to balance her body, how to read movements, how to defend herself with precision. Her uncle taught her control, taught her that strength wasn't for hurting people. It was for protection. It was for knowing you could destroy, but choosing not to. When her uncle passed away, Amani stopped fighting. The world felt darker, heavier, and she retreated into herself again. That silence followed her from city to city, school to school, until it led her here. And here, it was being tested. One Thursday afternoon, everything changed. It was gym class. The teacher stepped out to take a phone call, leaving the students to free play. Brielle and her gang saw an opportunity. They cornered Amani near the lockers. "Why don't you fight back?" Brielle taunted. "You think you're better than us?" Trey laughed. "Nah, she's just broken. Probably used to being bullied." Zara already had her phone out, camera rolling. "Let's see if she can crawl," Brielle grinned. "On all fours, come on. Beg like a dog." Amani didn't move. Brielle shoved her shoulder. Trey joined in, mimicking dog noises, circling her. Still, Amani stood still. And then, without warning, Brielle pushed too hard. Amani's body shifted. It was like time slowed. She stepped aside, grabbed Brielle's wrist mid-push, and twisted it effortlessly. Brielle's knees buckled. She yelped in pain and dropped to the floor. Trey lunged at Amani from behind, but she spun, ducked, and used his momentum to flip him onto the gym mat. He groaned, gasping for breath. Zara took a step back, shaking, the phone falling from her hands. Amani stood over them, calm and steady, her voice low. Never mistake silence for weakness. The rest of the class stood frozen. No one had seen her move like that before. No one had expected it. All the whispers, the laughter, it stopped. The gym teacher walked back in seconds later to find Brielle on the floor holding her arm, Trey stunned and dazed, and the rest of the students staring like they'd seen a ghost. "What happened?" he asked. No one spoke. The video Zara recorded, though shaky, had already made its way into group chats. By lunch, it had over 500 shares in school circles. People began approaching Amani, not to mock, but to apologize, to ask questions, to understand. Amani didn't gloat. She didn't brag. She simply said, "I did what I had to do." The principal called her in. After reviewing the footage and speaking to witnesses, it was clear she acted in self-defense. Brielle and Trey were suspended. Zara's phone privileges were revoked for the rest of the semester. In the days that followed, things changed. No one threw paper at her anymore. No one whispered behind her back. Instead, people smiled, nodded, and a few even sat with her during lunch. Not because they were scared, but because they respected her. One girl, Emily, came up to her during recess. "I get bullied too," she said quietly. "How did you stay strong?" Amani looked at her and replied, "By remembering who I am. And who I refuse to become." From that day on, Amani didn't hide. She joined the school's martial arts club. She volunteered for a peer support group for bullied students. She spoke once, just once, during a school assembly, and her words stayed with everyone. Kindness is not weakness. Quiet people carry the loudest storms. The girl they mocked became the girl they admired. Not because she hurt anyone, but because she taught them the meaning of mercy.